Depends when it was for, let's say, 2 or 3 days.
Good evening and welcome to Startup Weekend Iowa. You are in the right place, my friends. This is our official welcome party. We are now underway, looking forward to the next 24, 5, 6, 27 hours that we'll be building together. Traditionally, Startup Weekend is a 54-hour extravaganza of building together. With this virtual hybrid experience, we've got an opportunity to condense that a little bit. We have done this before. This is our second annual statewide Startup Weekend. We are here in Des Moines, Iowa. We also have in-person hubs over in Iowa City, in Cedar Rapids, in Cedar Falls and Waterloo, up in Ames, and over in Dubuque. And so we've got a collection of in-person hubs, as well as all sorts of people from around the state of Iowa and around the globe. We have already seen some ideas being shared from different people from all around the world. And for those of you who have participated in a startup weekend, you know this is where the excitement really starts to brew. We've got people that are coming together, learning a little bit more about how they spend their time, some of their skill sets, where they're from, what they're interested in building. And through that ideation process, being able to, find others that would like to build into those directions. And so we are underway here with some opening remarks, just to kind of walk you through what we'll be experiencing together. And then we take it back into the venue. And so while we're out, out on YouTube right now and getting some excitement around that, feel free to share this link. Feel free to connect on Twitter if you'd like to kind of watch all the activity throughout the social media landscape. But my name is Ben McDougall, and I'm one of your friendly hosts. So I get to facilitate some of the activities, some of the conversation. After we run through this slide deck, we've got a nice moment. Michael Cass has joined us to connect us all around the world through a mental, mindful moment. So looking forward to that. And then we'll finish this opening time with a short fireside chat. We're talking with Diana Wright, and Jessica's joining us from Dubuque to talk a little bit about how entrepreneurship became part of her life and what keeps her motivated as a founder. So that's what you have to look forward to over the next few minutes. Jay is behind the scenes, our Wizard of Oz, if you will. And so, Jay, I'm not sure if you want to pop on with a camera or take over the slide deck, or I can do it for us as well. I'm looking for a little guidance from you, my friend.
Sure, we'll see if my camera pops on. There we go. a little rusty. Haven't used the software in a few months. So I'm getting back into it. So apologize for any glitches here at the beginning, but I'm finding my stride again. So I think we're going to be good. Ben, I'll let you go ahead and go through the slides. I've got the slides right here. I'll advance it to the next one, and you can kind of lead us through the very beginning of Startup Weekend Iowa Online 2022.
Very cool, Jay. Well, I'll give myself the disclaimer that I've not even seen this slide deck. So how would you like to pitch and not know the slides that are coming next? So this will test my ability to chat on the fly. I do know how this works, though, and so it shouldn't be too difficult. As I mentioned, you're in the right place. It's Friday evening. We've had a lot of time to kind of build towards what we're going to experience. And tonight, it's not a time to jump into conclusions or get too worried about the details. Tonight's about finding the energies, connecting with others. It's about making these ideas happen together. And so we're definitely in the right place together. And I'm thankful that you've been generous with your time and are looking forward to participating in Startup Weekend. This is some things we'll do over this event, right? Of course, there's going to be some networking, some opportunities for us to get to know each other. Boy, I remember after we left last year's Startup Weekend Iowa, it felt like the end of summer camp. And so the demo day that finishes after we build together is a fun moment where there's some prizes and some esteemed judges joining us tomorrow night. So be sure to tune in for that. And for the participants, this is what we're building towards, right? So after some networking over the next 30, 45 hour long, which is already happening, right? All of our friends are already in the virtual venue, enjoying each other's company and continuing to build around these ideas together. Continue doing that, my friends. And as you get to know each other, know that soon we'll be pitching these ideas online and kind of solidifying our teams. Once the projects are selected, each team will have an area in our virtual venue to lean into as they collaborate online and have an opportunity to work over the next 26 hours together as we learn to build like a startup and explore our entrepreneurial spirits together. But first, let me read this slide word for word. Some relevant information you need to know. All right, so the Discord server is like home, right? This is an aligned environment that you can think of as the venue. It's something that you don't leave, right? You can have it on your phone. It's an app. You can have it on your laptop. Wherever you decide to plug in, keep Discord open, knowing that this is the place that all the activity, all the conversation, whether it's text, voice, or video, is happening. And so if you're having challenges with Discord, hit up Jay. We can make sure everything is figured out here in the opening moments so that there's a lot of comfort around this. I'm here to tell you that this is a sweet system that makes it really easy because it's all in one place. So we've worked as an organizing team in an effort to make this a fun, efficient, and smooth experience for all of our participants, all of our mentors, and tomorrow evening, our 3 judges. And so we're excited. Know that, like a startup, we're going to run into some challenges, right? But be respectful as you think about how you're connecting, how you're communicating, how you're interacting with others. Act professionally, knowing that that's going to allow you to get the most work done, but also create a safe space and treat the environment as your own. As I mentioned, it's important. Safe space is a key phrase for this experience. And so whether that's inclusivity through our vocabulary or the way we're treating others, the way we're inviting perspectives from different people, almost like an interest in doubt, right? Like that intellectual humility allows you to think again and allows you to look at things from different perspectives. And I think if we can all come together with that shared mentality, we're going to have a beautiful moment shared together through our time here at Startup Weekend. Who is involved? So taking a look a little bit about Techstars and what is behind Startup Weekend is what this video is all about. Get that sound rolling, Wizard of Oz. Indeed, I hope you are enjoying the visualization and putting some audio creatively into your mind. Maybe you're listening to some music. Jay, know that I hope you are enjoying the visualization and putting some audio creatively into your Isn't this fun? Jay, just know that there was no audio for that video, but that's okay. What we'll do is we'll throw the link to that video that deserves another watch because it is a very inspired introduction to the Techstars environment. I have had the pleasure of being around Techstars. I'm with the Techstars Iowa Accelerator. And so this is a program that brings in 10 different companies each year and floods them with resources and mentors. And like the word suggests, accelerates these founders and their teams towards whatever is next. Techstars also has a couple of other things. And so whether that's ecosystem development, Startup Week, there's Startup Digest, Startup Weekend is the channel of activity that we're partaking in together. And this is a global community. We are no longer alone, my friends. Startup Weekends happen all around the world, whether it's in a rural environment or in all the way to a global interactive virtual experience. And so what you see here are some of the folks behind the scenes that have made it all happen. You've already met Jay during our pre-party together. He's the Wizard of Oz. Jay is a facilitator that has enjoyed Startup Weekend in a variety of different places. And so he is an expert when it comes to facilitating these environments and making us all feel like this was easy. And so once again, my name is Ben McDougall. I'm an entrepreneurial ecosystem builder. I'm a tech founder. I'm an author and also just someone who is passionate about connection and accelerating fellow entrepreneurs. Diana Wright, you'll meet here in a moment. She is a startup community builder. She works inside the Des Moines Partnership in a pretty interesting role that allows her to connect, educate, and accelerate through those different channels, bringing people together not only around Central Iowa, but all around the state and all around the country as a true leader in the startup community and broader entrepreneurial ecosystem. Hannah Nuss is a friend through 1 Million Cups. I met Hannah as she embarked in an active organizer role over in Cedar Rapids in the Waterloo area. For those of you joining us internationally, it's about an hour and a half away from Des Moines, where we're at. And she has shown some true leadership. Coming in, bringing an organizing team through 1 Million Cups. This felt like a natural opportunity to connect. You'll hear more from her, of course, throughout the evening over in Discord, but also tomorrow morning, we're going to have a focused conversation around entrepreneurship in rural environments, different topics that will be interesting to lean into as she leads one of our fireside keynotes tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Central Time. That's a quick logistic moment. Everything we say when it comes to time is Central Time. So just a friendly reminder that no matter where you're at in the world, we're kind of going to keep that aligned through that Central Standard Time. Jessica Paisley is also a friend I met through 1 Million Cups. In fact, she was a presenter sharing Amidst magazine. And so it's within this fashion, this tech, this culture, this beautiful, all sorts of collective experiences that she's working to support creatives and connect them in different ways. And so we'll actually hear from her and learn about her entrepreneurial journey as Diana and her share some fireside commentary here after these opening remarks. So that's your organizing team for this weekend. Now, Techstars, whether it's the accelerator or any of the different activities, is built through the power of mentorship. Mentoring is where people are leaning into your success without preconceived objectives, without hidden agendas. This is a give first environment. There's a hashtag, give first. If you'd like to search it, I'd encourage you to explore others that have this mindset. It's a positive sum mindset where if you win, we win. And this type of collaborative, bottom-up, you give first approach allows us to all do more with less in our connected era. And so the mentors that are joining us throughout our time together, here you go, Gregory, bam, is an opportunity for these folks who understand the energy of accelerating others is unmatched. And so Curdy Levy, the MD from Techstars Iowa, is joining us tomorrow. Liz Hubing will be floating around. Nadia over from the East Coast. Nadia from the East Coast is joining us. Judy Isles, which I think is got Anthony's headshot there. Some of these other individuals, Bernie Stone was here earlier over in Discord. These folks are here to help. So whether that's a backboard to share ideas with, or maybe it's that next connection when you're doing some customer discovery, lean on these mentors, knowing that whether it's insight being shared or potentially a connection that moves you forward, these folks, as well as all of our organizers, are all here to help. Another way that this happens is through the support of our sponsors. So that, of course, is something that allows us to have our in-person hubs. It's something that fuels our prizes that will be given away to some of our teams after demo day tomorrow afternoon. And so feel free to take a peek at some of these logos, but we'll be sharing links to some of the resources that each one of these different sponsors provide. And we definitely appreciate all of our partners that made Startup Weekend happen. Along with the local sponsors that were on the last slide, Startup Weekend itself at a global level is supported through resources provided by our global sponsors. So whether that's Google for Startups, GoDaddy, or Miro, these are companies that appreciate what you're doing as a founder and leads to opportunities that unlock fresh resources to make this work. And so the one example, right? Google for Startups is providing credits so that you can build into your ideas without the barrier of cost for that free $300 in platform credit. In order to register, you see the URL there, cloud.google.com/free. And it may take a little while to get those, but don't worry about that. We'll make sure that they are applied if that's a resource of need. GoDaddy also steps in and partners with all of our participants through a free domain name. What a treat. So register at startup.co and know that this is yet another resource that you have access to as the teams form, the idea starts to emerge, and it's time to potentially put a name to this so that we can have some fun building a brand around it and even having a website where people can visit if that's something your team needs. Another resource is from Miro. This is a cool collaboration tool allowing teams to work together virtually with a really generous amount of credit available for you and your startup weekend team to, of course, use over the next 26 hours. But if the team continues to build together, think of this as a long-term opportunity, knowing that you have some of these resources to keep you building. All right, so let's dive into the agenda real quick. As I've shared, Friday is all about connection. Michael Cass is going to join us to do a really neat thing that's going to connect us. Then we'll have some time talking between Diana, Jessica, and I. We're going to understand what we're doing together through these opening remarks, then pretty quickly move into some of the activities, pitching your ideas, team forming, and then let's build. Researching, looking at the market, and pursuing over the evening hours and into Saturday, where we'll have workshops looking at different topics like sales, marketing, different things that are going to help you bring that story together so that we can craft a pitch and be polished just in time to present to some of our judges tomorrow evening. I think it's around 6 p.m. Central Time that we'll have that presentation from each team. We'll share a short pitch supported by a slide deck. And then, of course, we'll stick around for some after-party activities. This is our schedule that you've seen throughout social media. If someone would be so kind over in Discord to maybe find this on Twitter, SW_Iowa would be an easy way to find this as a resource over on Twitter. Is a place where we like to light it up. So whether you're following SW_Iowa or connecting with fellow participants, Twitter is a fun place for us to be able to connect not only during our time together, but after startup weekend as well. And this is a peek of how we're going to spend our time. We've got our keynote kickoff here starting very shortly. Then we'll have some networking in Discord. Notice the legend down there on the bottom. All that purple activity is going to be in Discord, as is the green activity. And so, like I mentioned earlier, this is home. Discord is our venue. Don't close it. This is where you're going to hang out and collaborate with your team and with the rest of your participants. The red things there will be where we're doing what you see here and sharing a little bit more of a public presentation, whether that's the upcoming conversation tomorrow morning's keynote kickoff or our big closing extravaganza with our virtual demo day tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. with all times, once again, being Central Time. Thanks, Jay. All right, so as you're building the company, right, knowing what the judges are going to be looking for, I would encourage you not to dwell so much on this that it's the only thing you build for. Think of this as a moment to, of course, build into the startup weekend, but don't be afraid to let loose and think big. Think about something that could actually transcend our time together. And so these judging criteria are, of course, important, but know that the reason that they're in place is so that you can build to go big even when we're small. So validating the idea, right? Thinking about your customers, right? One fun analogy to keep in mind is the difference between a vitamin and a painkiller. Vitamins people might take. They can take them if they want. They might forget. They might need it. They might not. But a painkiller really leans into the pain of that customer. It delivers a solution that has a true problem. And then you start to unlock some serious potential with that idea. And so how do you know if this is a vitamin or a painkiller? You talk to customers, right? So making sure you solve your different problems by thinking about your target market, exploring some potential solutions, but staying intellectually humble, knowing that that is going to give you the ability to talk to others, learn from the perspective of that research process through customer discovery. Plan to talk to people you don't know over the next 24 hours. That will serve you well in building something that people are not only going to tell you is a good idea, but are willing to write checks and pay for. as the idea starts to solidify, you've got some early traction through those different perspectives of potential customers, you're going to start building an MVP. This minimum viable product is kind of like a prototype, right? Let's build something just enough so that the customer can feel what we're going to be delivering. So whether that's tech flavored or maybe it's not as high tech right out of the gate, creating something as a team, knowing that that's going to allow you to build towards next, is an important step to take so that you can align the culture of your participants on each team and build in an aligned way. And so as you do so, thinking about the design, thinking about the end user, thinking about also like, let's be realistic with how little time we have together. Don't bite off too much, right? We're not trying to boil the ocean in 24 hours. Think about things that you can make serious progress with and actually deliver something versus having a cool idea that there simply wasn't enough time to get it to an MVP or to a point where you could really have customers interacting and having that idea evolved into reality. We kind of alluded to the value proposition in those opening remarks, right? Thinking about this and leaning towards the pain. Instead of worrying about how something works or all the details of how the technology comes together, keep the vision of your customer in mind. How is that going to solve someone's true problem? And if you can lean into that, building business models around it with that end goal in mind, you'll keep that uniqueness, of course, at the forefront of your activity, but also build something that is better than what exists right now or expands into an industry that needs something that hasn't been built yet. And so stay creative, stay curious, invite the opportunity to be wrong in a chance to get more right. Like, this is a beautiful time to think again and to build together towards something that is shared. So a couple of quick kind of housekeeping things. We've already talked about it in Discord. Ooh, nice. Don't worry about it. I like this lighting. This is cool. Diane's over there doing jumping jacks, getting our action lighting going on. I love it. All right. So one of the quick questions is, can I bring in an existing company and, bring in some new, fresh energy and build around that idea? That is not what Startup Weekend is for. We are not here to solicit free help, right? We are here to build something new. And so while, of course, the idea may have been brewing in your mind and you've shared it in the idea storm, if it's an existing company, let's avoid building into that direction and instead appreciate and enjoy having a chance to build something new. All right, so can I still work on my idea if it's not selected? Whoa. Yes, but it's important to have a team. We don't want a bunch of individual stars trying to build one thing as an individual. This is a team sport. So whether that's collaborating within the group here or thinking about the community, we'll talk about that here in a moment. Building around others is the activity of a Startup Weekend experience. And so even if your idea is not selected, step back and appreciate the opportunity to build something with others and join that team and allow your perspective to make a positive influence into something that you might not originally think of as super interesting, but wait till the build begins. I promise you'll find it exhilarating, and those around you will help you determine the way that you can fit in to really bring this to life. As Jay, and as you've already been doing, the Idea Storm channel is one more reminder on this slide. Over on Discord, that's going to be where you're able to see everyone's ideas, jumping into the actual channels for those ideas. They've already started to emerge. And so ask questions, provide raw feedback. Be respectful, but understand that these interactions will allow you to not only explore the idea, but connect with the individuals who have brought the idea to align your passion and to find what these small groups want to pursue next. Great. I love seeing all the activity on Discord. My phone is blowing up with all of the activity happening already in the idea storm. And so as the teams form, thinking about your role, right? Linebacker doesn't necessarily play wide receiver. For our international football fans, right, your goalkeeper, well, he might come in to a last minute situation, but often isn't playing striker, right? So figuring out the different role that you play, what gets you passionate? What's a skill set that you have? Are you a tech developer that really wants to build something, on the coding side of things? Do you like design, right? Is this a Photoshop skill that you'd like to explore or enhance? Maybe it's web design, and maybe it's a mixture of both. Perhaps it's business development. I love to talk to people I don't know and hear their stories and share a little bit about what we're doing. Maybe that's a role that you can take. Be creative. Think about the business aspects of it along with the ongoing building of this. And if you have some domain expertise, share it. This is a connection opportunity. Maybe you know someone that might be willing to be an early customer or lean into some of that customer discovery, and don't be afraid to fail. In fact, don't even think of the word. Look, we either succeed or we learn. And I think we're going to have a little bit of both throughout our time together. So this is a fun experience that invites you over the next 26 hours to embrace our chance to build as a team within this safe space, knowing that we're in this together. All right, so these are some resources that are there's a channel. This, of course, is a nice slide. Thank you, Jay. But knowing that we've got a linked channel full of resources in Discord, find that resource channel, knowing that along with our mentors, our organizers, there's a lot of resources just waiting to help you build. And so now this has been a wonderful time to hopefully get you acquainted with what is planned, and appreciate the attention. I'm looking forward to bringing Michael in, Jay. If you can bring Michael in here, we'll spend a little time with him. And Michael, it's great to have you. This is a fun opportunity to allow you to kind of bring us together. After Michael's time, we will bring Diana and Jessica into the mix to have a little bit of a fireside chat. As the Discord activity continues to brew, the ideas continue to come together. Michael, how are you feeling tonight? And thank you for joining us for Startup Weekend.
I'm so happy to be here. I'm feeling great, Ben. It's always, I've told you this, when we're working together on the 1 Million Cup side, like whenever you talk about this stuff, about community and entrepreneurship, my whole body lights up with how excited you get about it. It's just, I love how committed you are to this and the energy you bring. So I'm just, thank you for inviting me to be a part of it.
My pleasure, Michael. That energy is endless because it is genuine, and it is just like the hobby that I am so thankful. Entrepreneurship is a lifestyle, and I'm thankful to have found this path towards career nirvana. Nirvana is probably a good word to segue into our mindful moment that I'm really looking forward to. Know for our viewers that this was not scripted. I'm not sure what Michael has in store for us, and that is something that I want to enjoy as well. And so, Michael, I'll give you the mic for the next 5, 10, 15 minutes. Take as long as you'd like. And Jay, if you don't mind, maybe taking me down and letting Michael really lead us over the next few minutes. I'll be back to enjoy some conversation with Diana and Jessica. But first, Michael, please.
Thank you, Ben. That was I love how you went into meditation voice. Michael, please. Hi, everybody. So I was talking in the Discord with, I think it was Chad and April, about how when we are doing this kind of thing in person, there's like an energy in the room. Everybody kind of gets a sense of who they are. We've all gone through some steps to get there, right? We drove, we went into the room, maybe we got coffee, whatever the thing is. And when we do it here virtually, there's none of that. So we're joining from all over the world. Some of you have participated in maybe a dozen or even more of these startup weekends. Some of you are here for the first time, and we have no idea who each other are. We're going to get to know that over the next 26 hours. But I thought it would be really beautiful just to take a moment to enter our shared space together, not just log in on Discord. So what I've done is I've lit a candle. I'm showing this to you so you know I'm not making it up. It's a real candle. And I'd like to just take a moment to imagine that we are sitting around a campfire together, as startup entrepreneurs have done for the last 100,000 years. We always start out around a campfire. So what I'm going to invite us to do is first remember we have a body. So I'm going to stretch a little bit. If you want to stretch, in that video that we couldn't hear, I noticed how everybody was like actively moving and very engaged. And one of the things that happens when we do this stuff online is we forget we have a body because we're so focused right here. So invitation number one is just to stretch a little bit, right? Creativity, entrepreneurship is a full body experience. So let's just invite that. And then just maybe take a nice big breath. And then release it. All right, now we're ready to gather around the campfire. So for this next bit, and this will just be about 5 or 6 minutes, I'm going to invite us all to do a guided visualization together. Some people hate this crap, and that's fine. If that's you, you can just kind of soft focus towards the ground, close your eyes, and let my quasi-hypnotic voice kind of soothe you if that feels fun. But for the rest of us, I'd love to bring us into this space together just with our imagination. So if you want to, and if it's comfortable for you, I'll invite you to close your eyes for a moment and slow your breathing down. So just become a little bit aware of your breath and allow your breathing to take up a bit more space. If you want to, you can count to 3 or 4 as you breathe in. And then as you release, just let it out with a sigh. And as we breathe, the reason that we're slowing the breath down is to increase the coherence between our mind and our body, which is how we enter that state of creativity known as a flow state. Right? If we're breathing too quickly, if we're too amped up, we're much more likely to get frustrated. We're not going to have access to all of our best ideas. So just take a nice slow breath in, release it with a sigh. And now I'll invite you just to imagine being in a beautiful place in nature on a beautiful warm evening. And imagine just being gathered around a campfire with these amazing people from all over the world who have come together to create, to build, to be of service in some way. And just for these few moments, if you want to, you can even maybe rub your hands together a little bit and hold them with their palms facing forward. I'll do it so you don't feel so silly. And imagine that you can actually feel the heat of that campfire against your hands. And imagine you can feel the physical presence of the other entrepreneurs, creators, community builders all around you. And now what I'll invite you to do is just take a moment and imagine what you want to feel like 25 and a half hours from now. Really build the image. What will you be wearing? How will your body feel in a good way? We wouldn't be here if we want to feel thrashed and horrible. So the best possible version of tomorrow evening. And just allow that feeling to become alive in your body. We don't need to know how you got there, but just know that you are flushed in this moment with a feeling of accomplishment and a feeling of connection and a feeling of having brought something that has not existed before into its next stage of existence. Tomorrow evening, you will have created something new. Take a moment to feel the accomplishment of that. And just take a nice slow breath in and then release it. And again, a nice slow breath in and release it. And if you want to, if they're closed, you can open your eyes. If your eyes are open, look at something new. And I just want to share a couple of things with you that might be useful, right? Like Ben said, over the next 20 whatever hours, there will be challenges. There's going to be frustration. All of that happens. When we come up against that, when we get frustrated, right? All the science, all the fancy research, but also common sense tells us that if we slow down, even for just a moment, and breathe with your team, just take 3 slow breaths together. Often even the most tenacious of knots tends to loosen, right? And that's because we're helping the mind and the body reconnect. And finally, I just want to share 2 quotes with you from teachers who I love very much. One is named Bayo Akomolafe, and he says, "The times are urgent. We must slow down." So yeah, right? We only have like 20 whatever hours to create a whole business and a pitch and all of these things. And while that seems to tell us that we need to work very, very quickly, it might actually be more productive sometimes to slow down, to rest, get a drink of water, breathe, pet your dog, whatever it might be, right? The other quote is from Adrienne Marie Brown, who's a wonderful facilitator and science fiction author and just badass human. And she says that progress happens at the speed of trust. You're going to be working in teams that have never worked together before. So maybe before jumping into all of the ideas and playing with the tools, take the time to build a little bit of trust with each other so that as you move through the next 20 or so hours, you'll have that base of human connection. And again, if all else fails, if you find yourself just at like odds with each other, can look at each other through these cameras or on Discord and just get like, hey, let's take a breath. And so I'll close, Ben, just by inviting all of us one more time to take a slow breath together. And as we do that, doing it with the awareness that all over the world right now, there's a group of badass entrepreneurs who are taking a breath together. And that if all we accomplish is we remember, oh, wait a minute, we're all connected. And when we work as a team, amazing, unimaginable things happen. That's a good use of time. So here we go. Nice slow breath. And release. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have the best time this weekend. And I'm so excited to come back tomorrow and see what y'all have built.
Namaste.
You're
That was
muted,
a
Ben.
full
You're
moment,
muted.
Michael. I knew that it would be. My hope is that everyone enjoyed that exercise, feeling a sense of one and knowing that we are in this together. I knew Michael would share some wisdom. The quotes are already on Discord, lighting up the energy. And Michael, thank you again for being with us. Feel free to stick around, pop in anytime to say hello. If you are curious about Michael and want to connect more with him, real quick, sir, what would be a good way for people to learn a little bit more about how you spend your time?
2 ways. One, you can check out my website, which is storyandspirit.org, storyandspirit.org. Or if you're an Instagram human, you can check me out there, and that's also at Story and Spirit. I'm pretty active on there, so feel free to reach out either place. If what we did tonight resonated, let me know. I've got a bunch of stuff I can invite you to that I just offer on a weekly basis for free. Would love to have you be a part of it.
Look at that Wizard of Ozing already happening.
Boom.
This is how it starts to come together. Jay's back there turning knobs, and now I'm going to tell him, well, that's the wrong corner because we have a logo there. It needs to be over on the other side, please. And it's maybe next time. Storyandspirit.org. Great, as always, to see you, Michael. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
And let's move on. So we've had some opening remarks, some wonderful time together, breathing as one. I'm hoping you are in a wonderful state. Jay, I'm excited to bring Diana into the mix. We've got Jessica joining us over in Dubuque, Iowa. She's got some people over in the in-person hub. Jay, what's on your mind after Michael took us through that exercise?
I feel much calmer. I'm ready to attack the weekend and make the most of our time here. So excited. This is going to be a lot of fun.
Jessica, how are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Good. We're doing well. We have about 5 of us over here at the Dubuque Hub. So we all were going through the meditative process together.
Very nice. Very nice. I don't know if you're on a laptop or not, but you can show the group at some point. It's fun to see.
Sure. Does everybody want to wave? We have
Here we go. I thought it might be a laptop. What's up, my friend? That's what we're doing all around the state of Iowa here together. Jessica, thank you again for your generosity and helping organize. I'm also really looking forward to this conversation as we talk a little bit about your entrepreneurial journey and what keeps you motivated as a founder. Diana, how are you?
All right. Well, I'm right next to Ben over here, so we have to work on our echo. But great to be here, guys. A little bit about myself, and just for you guys, Jessica and I did not talk to each other before. I've not sent her any questions. So this will be a lot of fun tonight, and I know Ben will be adding into the conversation. So a little bit about me quick. I'm Diana Wright, and I am here located in the Des Moines Hub. Ben mentioned earlier, I work with startups every day. It's honestly very biased of me to say, but I love being around entrepreneurs and creatives. And a little bit, probably 5 years ago, actually, I was organizing a startup weekend for the Ames community. So if anyone's from Iowa State or an alumni, please mention that in the chat. I'd love to see you. And cool to see the progression of a startup weekend in Ames take place. 2 of our winners actually went on and pursued their businesses and are still active today. And this is now going on about 5 to 6 years. So really cool to see in the state and how startup weekends really can get you connected and kind of give you the grounding to get started next right after this event. Let's see. So is video good?
Yeah, we are good, Diana. Thank you. Jay, of course, you're welcome to participate in this conversation as well. I want to keep it concise, knowing that people are lighting up Discord and eager to continue towards forming our teams and getting things started. But in order to, ground some of the organizers and share a little bit of their experience and their perspective, this was a chance for us to lean into a little bit of that experiential wisdom. And so, Jay, I'm not sure, are you wanting to stick around? If so, that's awesome.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I would love to talk about different stuff we've been doing over here in Iowa City.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Okay. So we've got a fun, now we just need the candle, Michael's candle. We're all still kind of keeping our hands warm around the fire. And it might be a nice chance for each of us to share a little bit about how entrepreneurship, where was the spark? Where were you first introduced to this mindset or this type of activity? Jessica, I'd like to start with you and tell us some story.
Sure. Well, as you saw, my name is Jessica Paisley. I've lived in and around the Dubuque area my entire life. So as an Iowa startup Amidst was born actually 1 year ago, officially. Really excited about this community that we're creating. So Amidst is creating a community of creatives across the 12 Midwest states that really takes time to strengthen connections and find out what the needs are and take that time. Then after finding out what those needs are and do the storytelling piece, we have a print and digital magazine that is outward facing to share with our community, for our readers, for our audience. So I have been an entrepreneur kind of unintentionally my entire life. I've always been connected to something that was a new fun project or doing something, fun with my friends, things like that. But prior to starting Amidst, which is a print and digital magazine with an online community hosted by the magazine, I've been doing style professional work for about 15 years. And that started for me personal shopping in a department store, and that kind of role went away, but I had about 300 clients that still wanted me to do that with them. So it transitioned into doing one-on-one shopping, costume design for independent films, professional image presentations for colleges and universities, and all these type of things that, were kind of unintentional. So all of that to say, my past experiences have kind of rolled into what I'm doing now with the magazine.
And Jessica, what keeps you up at night? So we're going to be, a lot of the people here on Startup Weekend are going to be staying up late. I want to know what keeps you up at late and whether that is regarding your business or even just in life.
That's a really great question. So I would say the thing that keeps me up at night would just be, am I reaching the community that needs to be met? And we're trying to do a lot with rural creatives and people who might not have access or might not have community, people whose first language isn't English, or indigenous communities. So are we reaching, and are we learning the right things that we need to know? And then on a personal note, I have an almost 3-year-old, so that's what keeps me up at night.
So, I know you've presented at our 1 Million Cups chapter here in Iowa City. What was your I guess, preparation mindset, kind of moving from more of the creative to maybe interfacing with more of the entrepreneurial side of the equation here?
So this is my first, I would say, kind of accidentally coming into like a startup style community. And this is my first experience using Discord. So all of these things are brand new for me. I've always come from the special event side, the producer side, the creative director side. And even though I've done a lot of those things, learning on to, doing a pitch deck and all the things that are required, that has taken kind of just a different turn for me. But I've had great support from, getting connected with Diana and meeting Ben and other people and you as well, Jay, having people that help support and kind of say like, this was great and this is how you can kind of improve on it. So, just do your research. You have to start somewhere. Starting off somewhere is better than doing it perfectly. I've taken a lot of personality tests, and apparently I'm 50% creative and 50% perfectionist, and that's a really hard line to cross sometimes. So, that I've been able to move back and forth from that as the more I've learned.
Nice.
The old sage, perfection is the enemy of progress. Let's definitely keep this on time. We don't need to extend these conversations too much longer, but I do want to still create a little more space. Jessica, I have one more, perhaps almost paradox for you. Does everyone have an entrepreneurial spirit?
I think so. I think that you just need to know the thing that you're passionate about, and you don't realize that you're an entrepreneur until you stumble into it. And the thing that you're passionate about, you take the time to create.
It takes a little extra to be concise and simplistic. That was a beautiful answer, and thank you for sharing that thought. Jeff, I want you to think about maybe a question that's been burning that you haven't been able to ask Diana before. But I do want to shift gears because Diana has such an interesting story. Growing up in Clear Lake, Iowa, participating in the entrepreneurial space at Iowa State, and then creating a new position of startup community builder within an economic development organization. I'd like to just kind of allow you to share kind of your current work, Diana. I think it might be almost a misconception that in the modern era, you have to be a founder in order to be involved with entrepreneurship. There are a lot of ways to get involved within your entrepreneurial ecosystem, within the startup community, and within your small business community, even if it's not necessarily starting a business. I'd love to just kind of have you take us through that experience, jump in a time machine and bring us to now, if you don't mind.
Sure thing. I didn't know we'd be doing this, but I appreciate it. So I'm like what I mentioned earlier, I'm biased because both my parents are entrepreneurs and I've grown up around business and small business actually. So that has led me, I think, a little bit down the path that I am today. And as Ben mentioned, went to Iowa State University, got really involved in the entrepreneurship programs there. And after that, and actually from an Iowa State, we did a startup job crawl where we took a yellow bus down from Ames to Des Moines, Iowa, which is about 30 minutes. And got to then meet all these different startups. And instead of like going to a career fair where you're wearing like stuffy jackets and a tie and dress, we were all pretty casual meeting startups actually over beer. And that's actually when I got connected to the startup here in Des Moines that is called Dwala. And it's a payment startup, and it has changed its model. It's probably raised now over $75 million. And I got to join kind of that starting team when it was just 15 people and 15 employees. And got to experience a lot as it relates to fast growth, but also there's some ebbs and flows there that actually do happen, and you learn a lot from it. From that, I actually then went to Iowa State to work there within the Entrepreneurship Center and to create new programs for student entrepreneurs. There's 7 colleges there, and there's so much going on, whether it's in engineering and tech or even the liberal arts, the design. It's a lot of fun. And so at Iowa State, I got to really build my own position. And if you're ever in that role, I mean, it's so much fun to have kind of a blank canvas and just figure out what do you want to create today. And that kind of leads me to the partnership and where I'm at today. It is a new role. There's literally not one other person with Startup Community Builder, I think, on LinkedIn. And I think a lot of people are curious, like, what is that? What do you do? And essentially, it's working with entrepreneurs and trying to figure out the value. And so just as you might hire a guide as you were to go like on a big trip, on a big adventure, I would say that I'm a guide for startups and getting them to connected to the right people at the right time, and ultimately trying to help businesses grow and be successful here a little bit easier, right? So that's a little bit about quickly where I'm at today. Appreciate it, Ben.
All right, I have a question for you, Diana. And this is going to be kind of a personal question coming from like the startups perspective, but knowing that, you know, with what we're trying to do at Amidst with the creatives community and building that, I know you're creating more on the startup community builder side, but what would be like, if you could say one thing that is your kind of go-to advice for someone in my position, what would that be?
As you're building the creative community, is that right? Sorry.
Yes.
I think kind of in general, when it comes to community building, you got to figure out who is first excited about it. Like it literally just takes one person, and then try to build from that network. And I know we had this conversation actually over lunch last week, but when you're trying to figure out, you know, well, who should I talk to next? Who else might be excited about what I'm building as relates to even in the creative and the artist community? I think that's actually really critical, is always looking for those connections. And even now that we live in a world where we have gotten used to being online, If you're ever in a Zoom or in a conversation like this that you will be over the weekend, it's like, okay, who are 3 people we can quickly talk to and try to build from there, and then ask that same question. And I know that really goes into customer discovery, but I think it really can also happen and crisscross to the community building side too, in any shape. Startups, creatives, whether you're trying to, create a fantasy league. I mean, it's anything. But that's what I would just say there.
That's awesome. Thank you. I think that's great advice for, like I said, any startup who's trying to build that, because you finding that customer and going from there, and that is our customers, our creatives.
So Diana, I have one for you. You're doing the community building thing at the Des Moines Partnership right now. What sort of fun things can you divulge about stuff you're planning for the next year or so?
Yeah. Let's see. So I know we just announced for the state of Iowa. So the partnership, we're interested not just in the central Iowa area, but also helping lift up the whole state as it relates to the entrepreneur ecosystem. And I would throw in the creatives. Jessica, I really love working with artists and creatives. And so a project we just announced is Innovation Dashboard, which really means that we're trying to build better storytelling around our entrepreneurship community. And so in order to do that, sometimes you have to have data. And I know it's like a word that we hear a lot of. It's not that sexy, but if you don't actually know what's happening in the entrepreneur community, you can't set goals, or you don't know what are the gaps as it relates to entrepreneurs who are building right now versus even entrepreneurs that are scaling and trying to grow. And so that's just something that we're working on. There's a survey out right now that anyone can take that is building a business or even an early stage idea. We're just trying to figure out really some of those metrics that come from the entrepreneurship community. So that's something. IowaInnovationDashboard.com is the website if you guys are at all interested.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
So Ben, what's new? Where are we going for the rest of the evening?
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate the quick knowledge grenades from both Jessica and Diana. It's neat hearing both of those stories, and they'll be sticking around throughout our time together. So feel free to touch base with them in Discord, even set up some time to learn more about how they're staying creative and making an impact, staying persistent through that passion that comes from building something you care about. Jay, something that I'm really excited about is like the summer camp vibe that we will all feel towards the end of our time together. And so while the excitement is brewing and I'm excited to get started, as an entrepreneur, as someone who is passionate about the art of connection and just finds the unmatched energy of accelerating others, this is where I come to life. And so you can, of course, learn a little bit more about the way I spend my time. I write every week into a blog called Roasted Reflections, and you can find those over on benmcdougall.com. And along with some of the things that I ruminate about, which is generally about entrepreneurship and community building, you can also see a pie chart that highlights the diversified career portfolio to give you a sense of the way I spend my time with Techstars, with the Coffin Foundation through 1 Million Cups, through Flightbright, which is a beer festival app and a beer. I brought it with me just as like an example. This is a touch screen that's built into a beer flight paddle. Open is an open house scheduler that connects home builders and realtors. And then I brought this as well. So I was able to publish my first book last year. You Don't Need This Book. And it's generated the next level of peace in my life. And so That's Pour Over Publishing. Happy to be here. Looking forward to meeting all sorts of people from all around Iowa, from around the world. Jay, when you think about your startup weekend experience, whether that's in Alaska, San Antonio, here in Iowa, there in Iowa City, you're an OG when it comes to this activity. What's something that you're hoping to achieve or something that you're looking forward to doing that you have not done in a startup weekend environment before?
Gosh, that's a tough one. There are times where it feels like I've done everything, but then something else always pops up. And I guess the one thing I would love to see out of a startup weekend is someone developing an actual physical thing. It's a lot of apps, and especially with an online version like this, it's very easy to develop an app or a website or that sort of thing. Very rarely do I ever see things that are just physical things. Like they've actually put together pieces of cardboard and scrap metal and duct tape, and it's together and it's an actual physical thing. So if there are any teams that are going to build something like that, I mean, I'm not a judge, so I'm not going to sway the judges or anything, but it would be really cool to actually see something like that over the course of the weekend or at any of the startup weekends that I'll be facilitating later this year.
That would be a trick to develop a physical product in a virtual environment. Jessica, I do think that your in-person hub, Hannah's there in Cedar Valley, or folks that may come together here in the morning, like we have a chance, maybe a little head start being in the same space. So maybe that's something to kick over to the group as they're listening. The ideas are already flowing, though. Any final kind of closing thoughts before we move out of this portion of our time together?
Well, I think over here at our space, we will discuss that now. I'm not sure how long we'll be together tomorrow, but tonight we'll definitely try to come up for something physical so Jay can see it. And then I wasn't as prepared as you were, Ben, but if anybody wants to check out the magazine, they can message me directly at jessica@amitsmagazine.com.
I would take that up on that just because I got the magazine last week and it is beautiful. And as we even think about at startup weekends, there's a quote that I love to use, and it's "Success leaves clues." And Jessica is someone that you should all talk to or message or find a way to connect. It's really cool work to see. And I just want to say on Jay's comment, I love to read. I love books. And there's actually a great book that's called The Revenge of Analog. So it kind of goes to that point. What if someone did actually build something that was in analog form? Or maybe there's a way to think about that in this digital space as well. But I just like that idea. So
Definitely. Very cool. I guess my closing thoughts, I'm looking forward to the weekend. I cannot wait to see what people come up with in the next 25 or whatever hours. And then it's always fun to then go back and see, hey, do these teams end up sticking together? So kind of to see where they are, and then maybe do some follow-up later afterwards. So it's going to be a fun weekend. We're going to have fun.
I do not doubt that, Jay. You will see us again in this format tomorrow morning around 10 a.m. Central Time. And then we'll be back for demo day. You'll get to see what these participants leaning into mentors have achieved together. We've got some wonderful judges joining us with some prizes. We're already winning by participating, but we're going to have a lot of fun over the next 25 hours, and that will be a nice way to put some icing on this cake. So on behalf of the group here, thank you again to Michael for that mindful moment. My name is Ben McDougall. This has been the opening remarks for the Startup Weekend Iowa Online 2022 Kickoff. Let's build.